We'll be back from the break now. Let's look at boosting Kenya's tourism sector. Kenya has received another luxurious cruise ship with 1,500 passengers and crew on board that docked at the port of Mombasa. About 800 passengers disembarked from the ship MV Atania for executions, with some heading to Masai Mara, Savo and others opting to visit tourist sites within Mombasa. This is the second vessel to dock at the port this year after the MV World Odyssey with 795 passengers and crew that docked at the port for the second time, and this is aimed at boosting Kenya's tourism sector. Naomi Mutumba with more.
The MV World Odyssey, which moored in Mombasa's port and carried roughly 800 visitors, was the city's first cruise ship. Kenya's tourism industry has been declining since 2018, and the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 made it worse. Kenya Ports Authority and the Kenya Tourism Board and other government agencies, together with different private players who work to ensure that cruise tourism is adequately and effectively marketed, have received a cruise ship with over 1,500 tourists. Edward Kamau, the General Manager of Corporate Services for the Kenya Ports Authority, stated that since the season started in November of last year, Kenya's cruise tourism season has picked up nicely. He also said that the cruise tourism will help the nation's economy because Kenya has already received 4 vessels.
Destination marketing is very important, so we work closely. Kenya Ports Authority works closely with Kenya Tourism Board and the other players in the industry to make sure that these kind of vessels are well received here and they have an enjoyable stay. And the vessel docked here around 2 o'clock in the morning, early morning, and therefore it's going to stay here until today evening. It's carrying a total of 1,532 people, 1,032 passengers and about 500 crew members.
The captain of the vessel, Aleski Zikonski, said that it was the first time MV Atania is docking at the port of Mombasa, and indicated as it is necessary for more cruise ships to come to Kenya to grow the industry.
We have about 500 crew on board, which is about 30 nationalities from all over the world. And as I mentioned, we are pleased with your welcome and your hospitality. I'm sure that it's necessary also for your country, more and more cruise ships coming to make a deal and to grow industry of the tourism, and I wish you all the best in this aspect. Hopefully the world will be open after the pandemic and you will receive in your beautiful port.
He added that Kenya has a very nice opportunity with a good terminal too. The vessel will then head down to south of Zanzibar, then Mozambique, before heading to South Africa ports. It is expected to have a passenger exchange stop in Cape Town port on February 26th, then head to the Atlantic coast through the West Africa, all the way up to Europe.
Yeah, the ship is heading down to Zanzibar and then Mozambique. And then we have some ports in South Africa like Richards Bay, Durban, East London, Port Elizabeth. And on the 26th of February, we will stop in Cape Town for 3 days with the Planet passenger exchange as well. Then we have again few ports in South Africa. And then we're going slowly to the Atlantic coast, West Africa, all the way up to Europe, which will be last stop Africa cruise on the 7th of April in France, in Marseille.
Globally, there are over 60 ocean cruise lines operating 430 ships. In 2019, the cruise ships are said to have brought in $27 billion in revenue, but this drastically reduced due to the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. The industry has been on recovery trajectory with 90% of cruise ships back in service, with projections expected to reach $18 billion. The number of passengers has been growing too and is expected to hit 25 million. Naomi Mutumba, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Right now, let's talk forex trading. You see, forex trading is the buying and selling of different currencies by either firms or individuals, and it's mostly traded. The mostly traded currencies are the United States dollar, the euro, the British pound sterling, and the Japanese yen. Now, one currency is usually traded for another in a business that is conducted by either internet or foreign exchange or the Forex Bureau across the world. Now, in the coffee cup tonight, Fred Makuya sits down with an expert in Forex trading to understand more about this kind of transaction.
Well, my pleasure, and thank you for joining us on tonight's Coffee Court. This is where we ask the critical questions, and tonight we discuss areas of investment, and one of that areas of investment is investment in the Forex. Now, I know out there are many people who would want to invest their money in Forex. What exactly are you supposed to be aware of? That and more to bring us to this discussion is Mr. Aiden Mujenyi. He's in charge of finance and investment at Development Associate Link. Mr. Aiden, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I want to invest in Forex, first and foremost, how does the business of Forex operate?
Well, the business of Forex depends on speculation. Speculation is telling what the future will hold. You bet on it and you make money. What is happening is that you want to, for example, right now, there's an opportunity in December and January of making money off Forex. You can make a lot of money right now. You can buy the dollar right now because it is at its lowest in the whole year. It's at 306,000. It is at 3,680 shillings. Very soon it is going to rise and get to 3,700 shillings. That's a difference of about 220 shillings. You have 1 billion shillings, you can easily make some very good money. You have 2 billion shillings, you can easily make very good money in very short time. And that's how Forex works. Forex is about speculation.
Okay.
Even internationally, it's about speculation, knowing the economic trends, speculating that tomorrow there's going to be a lot of demand for the dollar in, say, Europe, and you buy it, then you sell it tomorrow at a higher price. And that's how you make money through Forex.
So how do I open up such a business? What are some of those criteria that I follow to open up such a business?
It depends. If you want to, there's the physical Forex bureau and the online Forex bureaus. It's just a difference of, online and physical. In Uganda, if you want to open up a Forex bureau, it takes you 20 million share capital, which you have to deposit with the central bank. You have to have a business registered in URSB. You have to have a resolution from your directors. Send all those documents to the central bank. They'll get back to you within 60 days with either a yes or no. And you get the business. You will start operating. All you need is 1 million for license fees per year. And of course you need your capital. On top of the share capital which you have to deposit with the central bank, you need capital to start with for you to be able to buy the dollars and sell the dollars. It's as simple as that. It's like a shop. You buy goods, sell goods. This time around you're selling money. Buy money, sell money. But it's as simple as that.
So how does the business owner benefit from this business? I see it as a very easy business. So how does the owner who has woken up in the moment and has opened up a Forex bureau benefit and be able to make profits at the end of the day?
Profits in Forex come from numbers. If you can sell more dollars, the more money you get. Because the difference is in buying and selling. You buy the dollar at a cheaper rate and then you sell it at a higher rate. And the difference in between is the money that you make, and that comes through from the numbers that you operate in terms of sales, the number of sales per day. If you sell more dollars, the more money you make. That's why some people get out of the business, because they are selling less dollars.
So what brings a situation where $1 in Chikubo is higher than $1 in Ntinda? I've just used that as an example.
Where there is a lot of demand for the dollar will be cheaper. Where there will be many sales, so to say, if there are many sales, anything, the dollar that happens, the dollar is just like any other good. You go to Chikubo, you will find that many prices of so many goods are low. Even if the dollar is in Chikubo right now, it will be lower than the dollar sold in Ntinda, because there are so many people buying the dollar in Chikubo, because there are so many people who are going to buy so many things outside the country in Chikubo. That's why the dollar will be low in some places and others higher. The factors of demand and supply also are appended. They affect the dollar too. So the higher the demand, the lesser the price of the dollar.
So why are we discussing only dollar, and yet there are many other currencies? Japanese yen, Omal, Kenyan shillings, Tanzania, British pound.
Yeah.
We only concentrate on the dollar.
The dollar is the most popular currency in the whole world. You find it everywhere in this world. However, we are using the dollar to talk about even the other currencies, because it is the easiest example. It's what most people deal in. Recently, the Russian government has just removed the dollar from oil sales, just recently, just about a year ago. But the dollar is even as popular as that. Even in China, the dollar is more popular than the yen, because people in Uganda take with them the dollar. So the dollar is the most popular currency in the whole world. It's maybe the British pound is the next best, and the euro thereafter. But the dollar is the most popular because it is used across the world. But whatever happens to the dollar also is the same principle that happens to other currencies.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. That's why we use the dollar as the benchmark, but all the other currencies follow the same principles.
Okay.
Yes.
You've seen the dollar, it's that low in the period of January and February. What explains this?
Yeah, what happens during this period is when there's lowest economic activity everywhere, including the whole world. Because this is when usually people buy goods to sell in the festive season, starting from October and November. And in December, there are not many people who import things to sell for the festive season. So that's why there is not a lot of demand for the dollar during the festive season. And that is also coupled with the dollar inflows that come from the people who work outside this country. They say those people bring in much more money than all the goods that we sell. The remittances that come from people working outside Uganda, in terms of what brings money to the country, those remittances come to number one. They're pretty much almost reaching $1 billion here. The next, even surpassing $1 billion. So those remittances come at the end of the year during the festive season to help people celebrate, to help people do this, buy houses, buy this, buy that. So all that money comes in and brings the dollar down. So for an investor out there, this is the best time for you to buy the dollar. You buy the dollar, speculate, it's actually going to rise. We can come back here. The next time it is going to, in the next 2 months, the dollar will be back at 3.7, 3.7 something. And now it is at 3.680. And there's going to be money to be made within the next 2 months of the dollar. I can assure you that anyone has money out there sitting on their account, go and buy the dollar now.
Would you advise somebody traveling out of a country like Uganda to change money while in Uganda, or he would rather change while he gets to another country, hopefully if he's traveling from Uganda to Kenya? Would you advise me change while I'm in Uganda, or I may have to get to Kenya and do the interchange?
The best option is for you, because you have Uganda shillings. Uganda shillings are abound. They are everywhere in Uganda. So it's best to buy the dollar from Uganda, because you will not use Uganda shillings to buy the dollar in Kenya. It will be much more complicated because the Uganda shilling is not so much a common currency in Kenya or wherever you're traveling to. So it's best that you exchange the money from here, and that's why you see that the dollar rises in Uganda, because there are so many people who buy it, going to travel with it, going to send that money, going to send in terms of dollars to buy. People now buy things online. So there's a lot of demand for the dollar, because even when you're buying online, you go to the account at the bank and make a transaction. That transaction is made in US dollars. It has to be exchanged to US dollars to be then sent to wherever you're buying. If it's Amazon, if it's Alibaba, wherever, it has to be reaching the destination in US dollar.
You've earlier said Bank of Uganda sets precedent, but the same Bank of Uganda also sells dollars, Kenyan shillings, and many of those. Isn't this a competition, or isn't this a contradiction?
It's not, because the central bank does business. The central bank buys money. Central bank also sells money, because when it buys money, government buys money through the central bank. Government gets money through the central bank. Let me call it buying money, but they buy that money at a rate. That's the central bank rate that you see. They also sell money at the central bank rate that you see, that the current rates going on. They buy money through the treasury bonds, through the securities that you know about. That's how they buy money. That's how government, through the central bank, buys money. They are in the market actively to buy money, to control inflation. They use money to control inflation. They use money to control the economy. So they have to participate. They're not competitors. They're just because if they did not control some of the US dollar rates, it would be crazy in Uganda sometimes.
How lucrative is this business?
It is very, very lucrative, especially for those who have a lot of capital. Because for example, if you're selling $1 million US, you're buying $1 million US right now, and you're buying it at 3,680, that would be 3.68 billion. Now, hold that money for 2 months and sell it at 3,700. That would be a difference of 220 million in 2 months. What more lucrative business would you need bigger than that in 2 months? It's not there.
But the same business, people make losses. What could be the contributing factors?
The losses come in because of ignorance. The losses come in because of things like news across the world that affect the dollar. For example, if you buy the dollar right now at 3,680 and a catastrophe happens in the US, it will bring the dollar, it will cause the dollar to fall further maybe. And then, or if you buy the dollar at this rate that it is, you would have lost money if it falls further. If you are like the other person I talked about, who is speculating, bought the dollar, hoping to sell it. If he buys it right now and a catastrophe happens in the US and the dollar falls further, he will be in a loss. Those are some of the things that affect the dollar. So that's why we call it speculation. You must speculate that there's going to be good economics happening across the world. But some of the things are not, you can't speculate. You can't speculate that there's going to be an earthquake. You can't speculate that there's going to be war tomorrow, or a plane is going to crash into a building. That you can't speculate. So that's what affects the dollar.
Would you advise me invest in such a speculative business?
Yes, I would advise you, because there's no business that doesn't have risk. All businesses have risk, but you must be calculative. Calculate your risk and enter into the business with a risk that you can swallow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your final part in short, Mr. Aiden Mulangira.
Yeah. People out there's a lot of money to be made. You just need to be ready and take the opportunity. We have so many things that we do, but Forex is one of the things that you can make money from, especially in periods like this. The dollar is at its lowest in the whole year. It's at 3,680 shillings. This is the time for you to speculate for once in your life, if you have your money, speculate now, buy the dollar, you'll laugh all the way to the bank in 2 months' time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Aiden Mulangira. Of course, is in charge of investment here at Development Associate Link. That is it for tonight's Coffee Court. I hope you'll find ways of investing money in your forex. This is the Coffee Court, and my name is Fred Makuya.
And as we come to the end of business today, let's have a recap of our top stories.
In business today, the Minister of Energy insists that the lower power tariff can only be achieved gradually. Telecom companies urge policymakers to lower taxes imposed on mobile money transactions. Legislators task the Ministry of Energy to address the surplus electricity, yet 70% of Uganda is in total darkness.
And many thanks for being part of business today. I'm Gerald Paul Sonko with Winnie Wins and Akauchi on sign language. We've been coming to you live from plot 42 Nile Avenue. Do catch us more tomorrow night, 9 p.m. with Ron and Ahabwe for more business today, this entire week, as we concluded more on Friday. Have a good night and a good evening.